Spousal support was set at $2,000 per month, and I would continue paying the mortgage on the house, $1,000 for child maintenance, and health insurance until my son turns 18. Additionally, if he attends university, I would also cover those expenses. The judge declared that this ruling would cost me over $6,500 a month, including $500 monthly despite my wife's affairs with several attorneys from her firm. I was the one who felt cheated. I am Kurt D'Angelo, and my ex-wife is Lily. Our daughter, Regina, means the world to me. She wanted me to have custody, but the judge ruled otherwise. The process felt unfair, especially with the high monthly support given Lily's income. It seemed like the judge was biased against me, but I wasn't going to let it slide. I planned to make Lily regret crossing me. I have a knack for seizing opportunities, even if some have been questionable in the past. Now, I'm in real estate and own several businesses, including a currency exchange company. Using my currency exchange business, I arranged to pay the spousal support of $2,000 in coins, making it inconvenient for Lily to handle. Lily had stayed home with Regina until she started school, then became a legal assistant, quickly rising in her career with the help of an ambitious attorney who hired her. Looking back, I wonder if she was trading favors even then as she advanced. She insisted we move to a more upscale neighborhood to showcase our success, despite my preference for our home in Noack Forest. So, we bought a 900,000 peso house and decorated it to her taste, but I never felt comfortable there. We had different life goals. I preferred a simpler lifestyle, while she wanted to flaunt our wealth. Now, following the judge's orders in our divorce, I intended to comply, though Lily wouldn't be pleased. The next month, I arranged for Regina's child support, but Lily wouldn't directly receive it. The child support went straight to Regina's account. Regina also had excellent health insurance, while Lily received a policy with a high deductible. 30 days later, the time for Lily's first alimony payment came. I arranged for an armored truck to deliver it to her home. Confused, she stayed with a friend while bags of coins were unloaded, attracting the attention of curious neighbors. As the truck drove off, she shouted at me, but I just waved back and called out, "Hope you're enjoying the money from your lover." On Tuesday, a man approached me and asked if I was Kurt D'Angelo. I stayed silent, so he took my photo with a summons he had and, when I didn't accept it, he left it, saying, "You've been served," and walked away. After he left, I picked up the summons and saw I had court next Wednesday, giving me a week to prepare. I spent the week getting ready and discussing everything with my lawyer. Regina joined me for lunch, upset with her mother. I warned her I could end up in jail if the judge wasn't agreeable. On court day, I waited with my lawyer as Lily and her attorney arrived, mocking me. Regina tried to speak, but her attorney reprimanded her, and when she tried again, the judge scolded her for interrupting, seemingly siding with Lily. My lawyer said, "Your Honor, we are unaware of any charges, and none have been filed yet." The judge responded, "I'm referring to a psychiatrist's report I obtained. With this information, I stand by my decision." For months earlier, Regina had been struggling with our divorce in school, so we arranged for her to see a psychiatrist. Lily must have seen something in those notes that she thought would help her in court. I have never done anything inappropriate with my daughter, yet Lily tried to make me look terrible. I was furious. I couldn't believe Lily would lie like that, accusing me of something I hadn't done. The judge didn't even listen to my side. Lily's lawyer then said, "We asked the court to declare that Kurt D'Angelo did something wrong." My lawyer was just as angry. I could see there would be no justice that day. He argued, "Your Honor, my client has complied with every term in the divorce agreement." Lily's attorney claimed, he did make the monthly payment, but it was all in coins, mostly pennies and nickels, which damaged the floor and took a long time to clean. Therefore, we asked the judge to declare it a nuisance and damage. Quickly, my lawyer intervened before he could continue. Your Honor, under Section 5.13 of Title 31 of the United States Code, coins and bills are acceptable as payment for all debts, including spousal support. My client has paid everything required, including insurance, mortgage, and child maintenance. Your Honor, Lily's lawyer interjected, my client has yet to receive any child support from Mr. D'Angelo. That's true, Your Honor, my lawyer replied, but the child support payments have gone directly to his daughter for her needs. You can confirm this with her. The judge appeared confused and looked at Regina, who nodded in agreement. We have proof of payments for insurance and the mortgage, my lawyer added. I glanced at Lily and her lawyer, they looked frantic. Your Honor, her lawyer said, receiving payments in coins has been challenging for my client. Could we switch to checks in the future? Finally, the judge said, that sounds fair. But before he could continue, my lawyer spoke up again. Your Honor, may I ask a few questions first? And what would those be? The judge asked. Does the Chicago Police Department operate under the legal system here? Yes, the judge replied. If my client's car is impounded and he wishes to retrieve it from the Chicago impound lot, he can't pay with a check, he must use cash or a credit card. The judge stammered, caught off guard. My lawyer continued, if the police, as part of Chicago's legal system, don't accept checks, why should my client have to pay future support with one? Now the judge, looking somewhat foolish, grew defensive. Because this is my court, and I make the rules. ID had enough and stood up. You may be the law here, but I'm just trying to comply. The law firm my wife works for was also involved with her. The judge lost his temper. Mr. D'Angelo, you're in contempt of court and sentenced to 6 months in Cook County Jail unless you apologize and comply with my orders. Who do you think you are? The king of this court. Broken system, I muttered, shouting back. The judge was stunned, as if no one had ever spoken to him that way before. I glanced at Lily and her lawyer, they were shocked. Good luck getting your money now, which, I smirked, aware she didn't know how much her life was about to change. I was arrested and taken to jail. Jail is a mild word for what it really is, it's more like a prison. From the start, 2 guards harassed me about disrespecting the judge, but I wasn't intimidated. I'm 64 and weigh around 255 pounds, mostly muscle. Managing rental properties kept me in shape, plus I'd spent time in juvenile detention when I was younger. After processing, I was taken to the cell block. Blocking out the noise, I planned to keep a low profile and mind my own business. When they served dinner that night, I took my tray, leaned against a wall, and ate while observing the other men, many trying to act tough. Over the chatter, I heard a familiar voice I hadn't heard in years say, Texas. In my delinquent days, my street friends used to call me Texas Tex, said Randall, known as Ringer, approaching with all eyes on us. I put down my tray and gave him a solid handshake, both hands clasped, with my other arm around his shoulder. Ringer, man, it's good to see you. How've you been? Not great, obviously, being here. How about you? What landed you here? I told the judge he was essentially an idiot. The judge? That sounds about right, he laughed. How long? 6 months unless I apologize, so, 6 months, I guess. We talked, ate, and received some curious looks from other inmates. Ringer filled me in on what to expect, promised to watch my back, and I did the same. We reminisced about old times. So, what's your plan with your ex, her partners, and the judge? He asked, knowing revenge was always my fallback. That's why they called me Tex, after Texas, you don't mess with Texas. People thought twice before crossing me. What happened with the judge? He asked. Basically, I called him out. How did he react? He took my daughter, even though she wanted to live with me, and then practically accused me of hurting her. I knew I could end up here, so I started planning weeks ago. Need help? He offered. Maybe. I'm not sure yet, but it's good to have a friend here. I'll introduce you to a few of my people. It's important to have someone you can trust to watch your back. That night, lying in bed, I reflected on how I'd ended up here. I thought about my tough upbringing with an abusive father and a passive mother. The streets had become my escape. I joined a group of boys in similar situations, not a gang, just kids surviving tough times. We didn't help Lansing's crime rate much, committing mostly minor offenses, though we may have stolen a car or two. That led me to juvenile detention, which was a turning point. I'd vowed to change and plan for a better future. At 20, I bought a tax-foreclosed house, the first of many that I renovated and rented out. At 22, in a club whose name I've forgotten, I met Lily. Her life was very different from mine. She grew up in Sayre, Indiana, a small town known for its melon festival. Despite our differences, we connected, got married a year later, and welcomed our daughter, Regina, a year after that, named after Lily's mother. I bought a house in Oak Forest intending to resell it, but when she saw it, she fell in love and wanted it to be our home. For the next decade, we worked on it together, raised our daughter, hosted barbecues, and lived the American dream. Then Lily got a job at a law firm, and things began to change, especially her attitude. The simple things, the simple life, were no longer enough. She wanted expensive clothes, jewelry, and dining out, replacing our backyard barbecues. She also started making snobbish comments about people from the South Side of Chicago. I understood the South Side's reputation, but seeing her, a small-town girl, acting superior was upsetting. We argued about her attitude, and soon after, she insisted we move. 3 years ago, we moved north for the better schools, but Regina faced snobby classmates. She wanted to go back home, and so did I, but Lily refused. The divorce began one night when she said she was going out dancing. I traced her phone and saw her dancing closely with men at the club, kissing and touching in full view. Around 9 p.m., I went to the restroom while she was dancing. Just as I finished, a guy entered. "You were getting real close to Lily on the dance floor," said the first guy. "Thought you were going to make a move right there." "Yeah, she's wild," the other replied. "She knows how to talk, too." The second guy added, "She told me she's coming home with me tonight. Finally, we'll have more time for fun, not just quick moments at the office or in my car." The first guy continued, "Quick relief is okay, but it's not the same as the real thing. Tonight's going to be different." As they left, their conversation seemed more than just bragging. I saw them kissing, her arm around one of them. Around 9:30 p.m., she texted me, saying she'd had too much to drink and didn't feel safe taking the train late at night, so she'd stay at Paula's, another legal assistant from her office. I replied that it was fine. She responded, "I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you." I watched her pick up her purse and leave the club, arm in arm with a young lawyer from her office. I followed them. They were so engrossed they didn't notice me. They got into his Lexus, kissed, and were affectionate for a while. I was angry but then calmed down, my South Side toughness kicking in. I made my plans. They headed to his place, so I returned to the house. When I arrived, I told Regina we were leaving for good and to pack whatever she wanted since we wouldn't be coming back. She was thrilled but asked about her mom. "She's with other people taking care of her now," I said. She understood right away. It took us about 3 hours, but we loaded everything into my truck. Luckily, our old place in Oak Forest was vacant, so we had somewhere to go. Around 11 a.m. on Saturday, she called. "Kurt, what's going on? Where are you?" I answered, and it didn't take her long to figure out why I wasn't home. She tried to reason with me. "Come on, Kurt, just because you don't like a luxurious lifestyle doesn't mean you can take our daughter and leave." "No, Lily, but having a cheating wife is a good reason to go. Expect divorce papers next week." She gasped, Then, in her usual nasty way, said, "You're a South Side lowlife. You have no idea what trouble you're in. My firm will crush you." "Maybe," I replied, "but I'll come out ahead. You haven't seen the last of my anger." In the months that followed, Lily didn't try to fix things. Regina revealed her late-night escapades and harsh words. Lily probably thought she'd won, but I used that time to plan my revenge. I wondered if she'd considered how she'd pay her bills or cover her insurance and maintenance. Then, on a Thursday, something happened that would affect many lives, even those I'd never meet. Guards escorted me to a video room without my lawyer, telling me to sit for sentencing. They closed the door, and moments later, 6 inmates were brought in. I knew trouble was coming. I woke up in the infirmary, bruised and sore. They wanted to show who was in charge, and that was their way. From the sunlight streaming in, it looked like morning, so I'd been out all night. I glared at the nurse, bitter about the system that had taken my daughter from me. "I'm here to help, not to hurt you. You're seriously injured, I can help you heal, or you can keep suffering," she said. I apologized, and she understood my frustration. She left briefly and returned with breakfast, releasing my hand as I ate. I decided to ask for a favor to see Randall, my old friend. She promised to check and arrange a visit. "I'll need the full names of the 8, not just their nicknames," I said. "Oh, you're planning something, I see," she replied. "Eye for an eye, but with a twist," I responded. She agreed to try to get the names. Randall returned the next day with the list and asked, "What's your plan?" "The less you know, the better," I replied. "Oh," he murmured. The following day, Sunday, brought both good and bad surprises. Lily had come with Regina, and Lily spoke first. "I see you're getting along with her," she commented. "What do you want?" I responded. "How do you know?" "You seem unusually attached to her," she said. "You're 43 years old. Why don't you go back to your lovers and let them flatter you?" "Maybe then you'll see how full of yourself you are," I replied. "Just so you know, I offered myself to them, and they loved it," she boasted. "Get lost and send Regina in," I said. "I'm done talking to you." She smiled, thinking she was getting under my skin, and she was, but only fueling the fire that would burn her in the end. When they brought Regina in, she burst into tears seeing me all bandaged up. "Sweetheart, don't cry. It looks worse than it is," I reassured her. We talked about little things, and then I asked, "Can you do something for me?" "Of course, Dad, anything," she replied. I handed her the list that Ringer had given me, and she quickly tucked it into her bra. "Give this to Uncle Kenny and tell him to visit me as soon as possible," I said. My younger brother, 3 years younger than me, and I both grew up with an abusive father. I protected him as best as I could. He was the brains in the family, getting into video games and eventually computers. We talked until Lily returned and said it was time for Regina to leave. Regina didn't respond, she just hugged me and left. Lily said, "Your daughter is just like you," as she walked out. I simply smiled. On Tuesday, my brother came to visit, surprised by how I looked. "You look better than last Friday," I joked. "Glad I waited," he joked back. Then he started talking in our secret language, the one we invented as kids to talk about Mom and Dad. Gina, gave me the list. "I've done some preliminary research." "What are you looking for?" he asked. "Addresses of their wives or girlfriends," I replied. He looked at me and then switched to English. "Oh, using our secret code, huh? That's all you need to do. Then give it to Gammy and tell him to come see me, but without the list." Gammy was one of my old group who still lived in our parents' old house in Lansing. "I can handle that." "Anything else?" Ken asked. "No, that'll be all. But don't be a stranger, I could use some familiar faces now and then," I said. Not getting out anytime soon, are you? He asked. Not unless I apologize, I replied, and you know me better than that. You've always been stubborn, he remarked. Yeah, and that saved you from Dad's drunken rage, I reminded him. I knew you were right, he smiled. I'll come by in the next few weeks. Let me know if you need anything else. That'd be great, I responded. Later that week, I was back in my usual cell, and Ringer had spread the word that something was brewing and there'd be consequences. They just didn't know what was happening. The looks I got from the guards and the 6 inmates warned me to stay in line, or I'd suffer the consequences. Soon enough, they'd be put in their place. Gammy visited and asked, "Who passed this to you? What's the plan?" "You heard what happened to me?" I asked. "Yes, I did," he replied. Time for payback. Hit their loved ones without leaving traces. Use tact and aim for their cousins, I instructed. Understood, he nodded. Same day, same time. Make sure they get the message not to mess with Texas, I added. I'll get some help, he assured me before leaving, determined to make sure they couldn't trace it back. But they'd know why it happened. A week passed without news, and I waited for my daughter's visit, dreading seeing Lily. On Tuesday morning, I noticed the guards were absent, odd for a weekday. One of the 6 inmates looked distracted and upset. Something must have happened yesterday, I thought. I told Ringer to spread the message, "Don't mess with Texas." Soon, inmates started calling me Tex. Within a few days, the 6 inmates glared at me, and the guards watched me closely, but Ringer's crew had my back. When one of the 6 inmates approached with 8 of my allies nearby, he sneered, "My girl left me because of you." "Don't mess with Texas," I replied, smiling. He scoffed, "Sounds like good advice. I warned you. Now your women know how it feels. An eye for an eye with a twist. You hurt me, so I hurt the ones you love. Next time, it'll be their mothers." His eyes widened, and he quickly went back to his friends. Soon after, 2 guards approached me, cursing, "Who do you think you are? We're going to make your time here a nightmare. Then your women better brace themselves for a rough ride, they might even enjoy it," I replied coolly. I didn't resist, and after a few minutes of their punches, another guard intervened and pulled them off me. Many inmates witnessed the altercation, and so did the cameras, I'm sure. They took me back to the infirmary, where Nurse Beth greeted me. "So we have a troublemaker here, huh?" She joked. I didn't throw a punch. "The guard just attacked me," I explained. "Well, there'll be an investigation this time. Too many witnesses. He'll probably lose his job over this," she assured me. "One less idiot," I muttered. "They're here to protect you, whether you like it or not," Beth replied. After she bandaged me up, she said I'd need to stay overnight for observation. I wondered if she just wanted to watch over my bruised face. The guard was suspended pending investigation, and the other guard gave me a hard stare but hesitated to confront me. Maybe he'd gotten the message, "Don't mess with Texas." 3 weeks had passed since Gina's visit, and I was worried. Then Ken came by to tell me that Lily was refusing to bring Gina for a visit, making me even angrier. My ex-wife was keeping my daughter from me. At the end of the month, Lily showed up and almost left Gina in the car, but Gina refused to budge no matter how much Lily shouted. Lily stormed in angrily. "Your daughter is impossible. She barely talks to me and is just as stubborn as you. You said the same thing last time. Why don't you ask the judge to reconsider and give me custody of her? I'd be happy to take her off your hands," I suggested. "I warned you that you wouldn't be able to handle her. She needs a good school to succeed," Lily insisted. "Wake Forest is a good school, and she likes it," I replied. "Our daughter will find her own way, she doesn't need to depend on anyone else," I countered. "You're just too stubborn to see the benefits," Lily accused. "We've had this discussion countless times. You won't change your mind, and I won't change mine. So why did you come here, anyway? It wasn't to bring Gina to me, was it? I challenged. Her name is Regina, not Gina. You don't want her to be independent, she retorted. I mean capable, able to think for herself, make her own decisions, not influenced by wealth, power, or someone's big talk, I clarified. She glared at me, realizing the last comment was aimed at her. Anyway, she said, I need my spousal support. I have things to buy and bills to pay. Well, you'll have to manage that with your own salary. I can't receive checks from my company while I'm out of work, unpaid. That's how it works in the real world, I explained. What do you mean? I can't pay all the bills with my salary, she protested. You should have thought about that before dragging me back to court, I responded. But paying in coins was difficult, she argued. And now you're not receiving payments because I'm in jail, I pointed out. But you have to. She insisted. No, I don't have to. What are you going to do, lock me up again? I asked. What will I do about the bills? She replied. I looked at her and said, get one of your lawyer friends to pay the bills. I'm sure you're worth it. With that, she left the room furiously. Regina came in, and I felt relieved to see her. You really made her mad, she exclaimed. She thinks I should keep paying her spousal support while I'm in jail. How are you holding up, sweetheart? Don't worry about me, Dad, I'll be fine. Are you still avoiding talking to Mom? Yes, only when I have to, she replied. So, when do you think you'll get out of here? Honey, I'm not going to apologize to that judge. The only way I would is if he returned you to me, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I could be here until I finish my 6 months. I understand, she said sadly. My birthday is next month. I'd love for you to be out so we could celebrate, but I don't want you to compromise your principles. We can have a big celebration when you get out. That hit me hard. I started to think that maybe I was being too stubborn. Being here was hurting my little girl. Then Gina shared some wisdom with me. If a person has no principles, they have nothing. She quoted Abraham Lincoln, saying, important principles may and must be inflexible. Where did you hear that? I asked. From my counselor, Alex. The school arranged for me to talk to someone. Some teachers noticed my grades slipping and suggested I see a counselor. It's also helping me deal with Mom, even though I don't talk to her much. Schools like hers have counselors with doctorates. Those wealthy kids wouldn't just talk to a regular school counselor, I said. Mom doesn't seem too happy with me either, she responded. Just ignore it. It seems to make her even angrier, but it doesn't bother me, Gina replied. Well, in a couple of months, she'll need to find another place to live. The bank won't wait forever for her jumbo loan payment. I think her mansion will be foreclosed in 3 months, I explained. But, Dad, she won't let that happen, right? Gina asked. Honey, when you usually pay in cash, you don't worry about credit. That stupid mansion was the only thing I ever took a loan out for, I clarified. Really? Wow, Dad. Even with all your rental properties and other businesses, you never took out a loan. Gina marveled. I used the cash flow from one to buy new ones, I revealed. Dad, I've always admired you, but now even more. It was wonderful to see my daughter, though I wished we could spend more time together regularly. Missing her birthday would be hard for both of us, but I knew she was strong. The following week, I heard that the guard who hit me had been fired. It was hard to argue against the video evidence showing I didn't defend myself. Shortly after, the other guard left. I wasn't sure if he was transferred, but at least he was gone. Many inmates thanked me for getting rid of the bad guards. I think I gained some respect, and more people started calling me Tex after that. I had fewer problems now, though the 6 inmates were still angry with me. I heard that one of their wives had filed for divorce, and 3 others had been left by their girlfriends. Among the inmates, they knew better than to mess with me. A few weeks later, I received a summons to meet with the judge in the video room. I told the guard that I wouldn't meet anyone without my lawyer. He insisted that the judge was waiting, but I stood firm, wanting my lawyer present. If necessary, they could reschedule since I had plenty of free time. 3 days later, I was informed that the meeting was rescheduled for the following week. I requested a half-hour session with my lawyer, who noted it was strange that no details about the meeting had been provided. We decided to proceed with caution. When the judge appeared on the video, he looked annoyed by the delay. I didn't care. To me, he was just an arrogant judge who thought he was above everyone. My lawyer wasted no time, beginning with, "We were given no prior information, only instructions to attend." "You didn't need to involve your lawyer," the judge replied. "I simply wanted to see if you were prepared to apologize for your behavior in court." I nodded to my lawyer, who leaned in and whispered before responding, "Your Honor, my client refuses to apologize and, instead, demands an apology from you. He is also seeking primary custody of his child." The judge looked surprised. "How could he demand an apology?" he said, clearly taken aback. "I stand by my decision regarding custody, and I owe him no apology." "In that case, this meeting has been a waste of time," my lawyer concluded. "If my client changes his mind in the future, we'll seek another hearing." "Good day, Your Honor." "One more thing," the judge interrupted. I thought to myself, now we'll get to the real reason for this meeting. The judge continued, "Your client is not complying with the terms of the divorce. When will he start paying the alimony and the mortgage?" I whispered my response to my lawyer, who informed the judge, "My client has no intention of making any payments while he's incarcerated." "But the house is going into foreclosure," the judge pointed out. "That's my wife's mansion, not my home." "I never wanted it," I clarified, addressing the judge directly. "It will ruin your credit, and you'll lose your equity," he warned. "I'm willing to take that hit to see my ex-wife in her rightful place," I replied. Then the judge, clearly getting angry, added, "Maybe her lovers could cover the cost. With a dozen of them, they should manage it." I knew implying my ex-wife was promiscuous and suggesting the judge was one of her lovers would enrage him. "You useless South Side trash. Who do you think you're talking to?" he exploded. Before he could continue, I intervened, "I'm speaking to someone who had an affair with my wife. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm baffled why someone uninvolved would be so concerned." I stood up and headed for the door to leave. I heard the judge say, "Your client just earned 2 more months in jail. If he keeps disrespecting me, I'll make his life a nightmare." I smiled as I waited for the guard to escort me back to my cell, noting how stunned he looked. Back in my cell, I felt energized. It seemed my ex-wife had mentioned the mortgage to her lovers, who then spoke to the judge. What a mess. Her time was coming. The following Sunday, Lily couldn't resist visiting me in prison. Fortunately, Gina found out and insisted on coming with her. "So, you managed to anger the judge again and get 2 more months. When will you learn you can't beat the system?" Lily scolded. "Lily, why don't you drop your North Side attitude? It doesn't help," I replied. She practically shouted, "It's Regina." I turned away, refusing to engage with her further. She continued complaining until she finally left, and then Gina came in with a big smile on her face. I asked, "Why are you so happy?" "Because I get to see my dad," she exclaimed. "That can't be the only reason," I said. "Well, I have a surprise for you, but I can't reveal it yet." "Dad, do you trust me with your life?" "Of course I do," I replied. "Then will you sign this paper without reading it?" she asked, holding up a folded document. I looked at her with suspicion. "What's going on?" "You'll have to wait and see." "You trust me, right?" She smiled. I smiled back and signed the paper. Gina had folded it so only the space for my name was visible. Mom said something about them adding 2 more months to your jail sentence, she said. I'm sorry about that, Dad. What happened? I had another disagreement with the judge. Well, whatever you did, he probably deserved it. We chatted more about school and her mom. She kept mentioning Dr. Alex Hayes and wondered what was going on. I'm sad I won't be there for your sweet 16, but I'll have a birthday gift for you the next time you visit, I told her. What is it? She asked. It's a surprise, I replied. It seems like we both have surprises in store, she said. Before she left, I asked Gina to arrange a visit with Greg, my right-hand man handling all my business affairs. Sure, I'm sure that'll be really helpful for you, she responded. She repeated, I'm sure that'll be really helpful, a few times with a big grin. I had given Greg a few tasks to handle while I was incarcerated. I hoped he'd completed them, and now I had another task for him, Gina's birthday surprise. Later that week, Greg came to see me. He had managed to accomplish most of the tasks I'd given him. Then I filled him in on Gina's birthday surprise. Are you sure about this? He asked. Yes, it's the perfect gift for her, I confirmed. All right, he'll speak to our lawyer. He's agreed to help as well. Also, go talk to my brother Kenny. Give him what you have, he'll know what to do. If he has any questions, tell him to come see me, if not, he can contact Gammy. Understood, he said before leaving. I couldn't help but smile, knowing Gammy would carry out my plans for revenge while I remained innocent in prison. By the end of the month, my status among the inmates had improved. That guard must have spread the word about how I stood up to the judge, and, like any rumor, the news spread quickly. Soon, everyone was calling me Texas. At the end of the month, I had a surprise visitor. I walked into the room and saw Lily there. I almost turned around to leave, but she stopped me. Kurt, please stay. I need to talk to you, she pleaded. I have nothing to say to you, Lily, I replied. We're about to lose our house. Please, you have to give me some money to stop the foreclosure, she begged. That house is yours. I never wanted it, but you kept insisting until I gave in. It means nothing to me, and with the market down, we don't have any equity in it. Let the bank take it, I said firmly. You can't do that, Kurt. You have to help me, she insisted. Go ask your friends for help. I'm sure they have enough money, so you can be the person you truly are, I replied coldly. Why are you doing this? She cried. Why did you lie to the judge about me mistreating our daughter? I shot back. She was speechless, knowing she was in the wrong. Crying, she broke down and left. I felt relieved to have said what was on my mind. On the way back to my cell, the guard received a call and was instructed to take me back. Expecting to see Lily begging for help again, I was surprised to see Gina instead. Gina, your mom didn't tell me she brought you, I said. I wouldn't let her come alone, she replied. I'm sorry I missed your birthday, I said, but I have a gift for you anyway. Dad, I knew you wouldn't be there, and that's okay. I still love you, and you don't have to give me anything, she assured me. I thought, what an incredible daughter I have. Well, I don't have it with me, but I can tell you what it is. The house in Oak Forest is yours. It'll go into a trust for you until you're an adult, and when I get out, I can stay there with you, of course. I'll pay you rent, I promised her. Then Gammy visited. Everything was set, recordings of my wife and others, including politicians, doing illegal things. We had hidden cameras set up by cleaners. We'd expose them all. My brother would anonymously upload the videos with the tagline "Don't mess with Texas." The media and tabloids would go wild. Politicians and lawyers would scramble. As I walked back to my cell, I smiled again. Ringers saw it and knew I'd spoken with Gammy. He murmured, "You did it," and I just nodded, smiling even wider. As the videos were released, I lay on my bunk, hearing conversations spreading through the prison. Clearly, the news had reached us. People were saying, "Don't mess with Texas." Surprisingly, one of the 6 inmates, a big guy, came to my cell and apologized for what he'd done. "I warned you not to mess with me. Now others are paying for it." I returned kindness with kindness, and violence with violence, I replied, hoping he'd accept my forgiveness. "Of course, but remember, size doesn't make you invincible," he nodded and left. 3 days later, I was summoned by the judge, with my lawyer accompanying me to the video room. My lawyer smiled, wondering what this was all about. "Time will tell," I said, smiling. When the judge appeared, he was furious, accusing me, shouting, "You did this." I replied indifferently, "What are you talking about? You're Tex, aren't you?" He continued shouting. "That's what people call me," I responded calmly. "You'll pay for this," he shouted again. "I've been locked up for 4 months. How could I have done anything?" I said. "You have friends," he yelled. "Everyone has friends, Your Honor," I replied sarcastically. "You won't get away with this," he spat out. "I don't know, Judge. Soon you might lose your job, and your wife might divorce you. Even a dog might bite you," I warned. "Are you threatening me?" he asked. "No, I'm just quoting an old saying," I replied. "I'm going to make your life a nightmare. Watch your back when you get out. You'll be facing people who don't care about you, and I'll be happy with whatever happens," he threatened before disconnecting. I turned to my lawyer. "Did you get all that?" He nodded, showing his phone. "The Bar Association will want to hear this. Intimidation is a serious crime in Illinois." A few days later, my wife visited me again. "Oh, it's you," I said. "I thought you'd left." "Of course not. I had something to say," she shouted. "What's going on?" I asked calmly. "You made me lose my job. My face is everywhere because of you. How could you?" she complained. "You did this, not me," I countered. "Do you hate me that much?" she asked. "Yes, and all your lawyer friends who think they're above everyone else," I replied. "You used to be a nice girl from a small town with a big personality. Now you're just a selfish city snob." "I used to be a nice girl from a small town with a big personality. Now you're just a selfish city snob," I continued. "What do I do now? I have no job, and no one wants to hire me," she lamented. "Maybe you should move back in with your parents," I suggested. "I can't. The local papers are calling me the center of a Chicago scandal. My parents are retiring early and moving to Florida to avoid the gossip," she explained. "Florida might suit you, far away from me," I observed. "But they don't want me there," she said. "Maybe that's your fault. If both your parents and your daughter don't want to be around you," I added, "you should move and start over. Just don't take Gina with you. I'll fight for custody once I'm out. Given your reputation, a judge might reconsider seeing you as a moral example." "You can't do that. She's all I have," she protested. "I don't care. You brought this on yourself. We had a good life until you ruined it, stepping out like that," I said. "Maybe you could be with one of your lawyer friends. At almost 40, there's still a market for you," I mocked. She looked hurt, lowering her head to the table as she cried. "Tough luck," I observed. "Did you bring Gina?" I asked. "It's Regina," she snapped. "No, she's with her doctor friend," she replied. "Then there's nothing more to talk about. Don't bother coming back unless you bring Regina," I said and walked away. This time, I didn't feel smug, I actually felt sorry for her. She was devastated. The next day, I saw a news report, a fire had broken out on the top floor of an office building downtown, destroying it. The lower floors were saved by sprinklers. I couldn't help but smile. The following day, a visitor came and informed me that the law firm's off-site server had gone down, resulting in a loss of all their data. A few weeks later, Gina came to see me, looking radiant. She must have persuaded her mom to bring her along and seemed happier than ever. "Gina." I greeted her. "You look so happy. What's going on?" "I finally completed your surprise, you'll never guess," she exclaimed. "Well, based on our last conversation, I'd guess it has to do with the house in Oak Forest. Did you move back there with your mom?" I guessed. "Close," she replied, grinning critically. I was confused. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Mom's being evicted from the house in Wilmette, and I'm moving into Oak Forest," she revealed. "How is that possible?" "The court gave your mom custody until you're older," I reminded her. "That's the surprise, I'm emancipated now," she announced. "With the house in a trust for me, it was easy. I needed a safe place, and our old neighborhood is perfect," she explained. "So you're legally independent now?" I clarified, still processing it. "Yes," she replied. "I'm excited to return to high school in Oak Forest. I've already reconnected with old friends, and they're eager for school to start," she said. "Mom mentioned you've been spending time with your counselor." "I'd like to meet Alex," I said, feeling concerned about an older man paying so much attention to my daughter. "You're lucky, Alex brought me here today," Gina replied. "He's taking Mom around Chicago." "I'll be back in a minute," she said, heading to the door. When Gina returned, she wasn't alone. An impressive woman followed her, smiling at me. I recognized her immediately. "Freddie." "I haven't heard that name in 20 years, I said. "Freddie, or Alexander Federico, grew up in my neighborhood. We went to school together," I explained. Gina looked confused. "Dad, how do you know Dr. Hayes?" "Freddie and I were neighbors," I said. "We didn't spend much time together, though." "You were quite the troublemaker back then," Freddie joked. "Some things never change," I replied with a grin. "I was tempted to call you Tex," Gina added. "Yes, Tex," Freddie replied. "That was his nickname growing up, he didn't let things slide." "Your mom was wrong about him." "Mom misjudged him, and I bet he's behind the trouble for the law firm," Gina speculated. "I'm staying out of it," I joked. "By the way, I hope you don't mind me spending time with Regina," Freddie asked. "It's Gina," she corrected him. "Oops, my mistake," he apologized. When I first spoke with Gina 9 months ago, she was upset. "I could tell, and I thought of you, Tex, when she mentioned you were in jail. I was pretty sure something was off back then." "You must have changed a lot to have a place in Wilmette," he observed. "It's just a house, not a home," I clarified. "Our real home is in Oak Forest," Gina added, "but it's better than where we grew up," she said. "Yes, I wish we'd stayed there. Maybe things would have been different," I reflected sadly. It was true, if Lily had been happy, we might still be together. After the chat, I thanked Freddie for helping Gina. "No problem, Texas. She's like family," Freddie replied. "Thanks again," I said. "When you're out, let's catch up," he suggested. "I'll make sure of it, if I ever get out," I replied with a sigh. The next 2 weeks passed with little change, just the usual prison routine. Gina and Freddie visited every Sunday, and I appreciated it. Freddie genuinely looked out for Gina. She mentioned that Alex had helped her furnish and decorate the house, buying new furniture and decorations. When I asked about the money, Gina said, "An uncle helped, and I have my own savings." "Good," I replied. "I just didn't want Freddie to foot the bill." "He's been great, but no, he didn't pay for anything," Gina assured me. I hope it's not all girly stuff. I want to feel at home there, I mentioned. Don't worry, your man cave is intact, she assured me, referring to the basement, my retreat from living with two women. After they left, I reflected on my daughter's maturity. She was already legally independent and would soon be on her own. In a few years, she'd be off to college. I hoped to find someone who appreciated the simple things in life. Then, on Monday, Lily came to visit me. I was about to leave when I saw her. Wait, we need to talk, she said. I sighed and turned around. What do you know about what our daughter has done? She asked. What are you talking about? I replied. She's emancipated. She's moved out, and I don't know where she is, Lily explained. Oh, I said. So you knew? She accused. You pushed her to do it. She did it on her own, with the help of her school counselor, I clarified. Is she back on the south side and going to school? Lily asked, concerned. She's returning to Oak Forest in the fall, I explained. I told you she hated the school in Wilmette, Lily said. They always looked down on her for being from the projects, as they called it. You took her away from a school where she was happy, with good friends, and put her in a situation that hurt her self-esteem. You did her more harm than I did by moving her there, she accused. I tried to make sure she got a good education, I defended. Kids learn from their parents' example more than in the classroom, she said. We taught her life lessons, I replied. What do you think your example has taught her? Lily asked. I hope I'm showing her what not to do, I replied. Our job is to raise responsible adults, she said. I hope we've achieved that despite our failures, especially in our marriage, I reflected. Not everything was bad, Lily responded. But this is how it ended, I said. I hope you find what you're looking for, she replied. It's clear I haven't, I reacted, seeing her sadness and regret. I stood up from the table, feeling sorry for her once again. Finally, the day of my release arrived. I was summoned to court. Freddie and Lily were there. As I waited for the judge, I wondered what he'd say. I wouldn't apologize, especially since this judge wasn't the same as before. Perhaps the previous one had lost his job. After reviewing the case, the judge addressed me. Mr. D'Angelo, what do you have to say in your defense? I've served my original 6 months, plus 2 additional months, I replied. You could have apologized and been released sooner, he reminded me. I didn't feel the other judge deserved my apology, so I served his sentence, I said. You're stubborn, the judge observed. I prefer to call it strong-willed. It's helped me in business and in life, I replied. Your divorce agreement stands, and you'll need to pay restitution for the time you didn't fulfill, the judge concluded. Then my lawyer intervened. Your Honor, my client is willing to pay what he owes. Our calculation is slightly under $20,000, which he'll pay today. Lily stood up in protest. What you owe me is more than that. You'll have to keep paying until Regina turns 18. The judge interrupted sharply. Ms. D'Angelo, I'll handle all matters in my court. Now, counselor, please explain your calculations. My client has paid the initial support, mortgage, and maintenance for his daughter. He couldn't pay additional support or the mortgage while he was unemployed. Now that he's working again, he can resume payments, my lawyer explained. After reviewing the facts, the judge noted, your client was incarcerated for 8 months, not to mention the mortgage. Your Honor, the court order stated until the minor becomes an adult. The child in question has been emancipated for the last 3 months, as documented. The house was foreclosed 3 months ago, so there was no loan payment due. The total debt is $1,782, which he will cover with $20,000, my lawyer clarified. The judge reviewed the documents and our calculations and couldn't dispute the facts presented. I'll need to investigate further. If everything checks out, I'll accept this amount, he said, then turned to Lily and me. You share a child. Despite her legal status, she's still a teenager with needs. Both of you should be civil for her sake. Mr. D'Angelo, I expect you to extend that courtesy to everyone involved in your divorce. Can I have your word on that? Yes, Your Honor, I acknowledged. And Ms. D'Angelo? Yes, Your Honor, she replied, glancing at Gina in the gallery. It's Gina, but yes, Your Honor, she clarified. Unless these numbers turn out to be incorrect, I'll close this case. Mr. D'Angelo, you are free to go, the judge declared. Thank you, Your Honor, my lawyer expressed gratefully. As we left, Gina hurried to hug me tightly, with Freddie nearby, smiling. I noticed Lily watching us, her expression reproachful. Then she approached, shouting, 20,000 isn't enough. That's unfair. Why did you choose your new partners over me? Let them support you now. I calmly replied, they can, and they will. You can't do this to me. Lily protested. Lily, let's be civil for Gina's sake, I insisted. It's Regina, she replied to our daughter. It's fine, Gina reiterated. What am I supposed to do? I have nothing, Lily lamented. You'll find another job, and I can help with housing. I have an apartment where you can stay rent-free for 6 months, I offered. Back to the south side. She groaned. It's free, I reasoned. Oh, she sighed in frustration, turning to Gina and Freddie. Are we ready to go? Absolutely, they both responded. Freddie, I owe you a dinner, I said. I believe so, she agreed. Let's go to PM Allen. I made a reservation, I suggested, needing to cleanse my palate of prison food. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Lily's fury. PM Allen was our spot for special occasions. I'd booked the table for 6:30, so we had some time. Do you mind if we take a walk? I just want to feel freedom, I suggested. Then I turned to Freddie and asked, I booked for 4, can your husband join us? She fell silent, her expression blank. Then Gina chimed in, Dad, she doesn't have a husband anymore. I thought I told you. I was confused. Freddie always wore wedding rings when we talked, and she was still wearing them. I'm sorry, Freddie, I didn't mean to bring it up, I apologized. It's all right. You didn't know, she replied. My husband passed away in a car accident about 5 years ago. A large truck pushed him into the divider. They said he died instantly, Freddie revealed. I'm so sorry, Freddie, I had no idea, I said. I assumed, because you wore rings, that you were married. Yes, I just can't bring myself to take them off yet. It feels like letting go, she admitted. I've heard that before, I responded softly. Well, it's okay, she said, her expression solemn. I think it'll be all right. I realized I had been too focused on my own problems and revenge to ask about her life. I felt terrible and decided that, from now on, I'd be a better friend, open to hearing her story. Dinner was fantastic. It was a relief to wear regular clothes, not having to stay alert constantly, but freedom felt a bit strange after 8 months. By the end of the meal, I felt more at peace. Freddie, when you're ready, may I invite you on a proper date? I asked. I'll wait as long as it takes, and we can keep in touch until then. Dad, we'll definitely stay in touch, you're not getting rid of me that easily, Gina assured me. And I wouldn't have it any other way, Freddie replied, smiling at Gina. She then turned to me, explaining, Mickey and I never had children. With my studies and his business, the timing wasn't right. I hope that's okay with you. After everything you've done for us, I wouldn't want it any other way, I assured her. I hope you like how our old house looks, it's much better than where I've been the last 8 months, I joked. When we arrived, I was surprised. The shutters were freshly painted, the bushes were trimmed, and it looked amazing on the outside. Inside, it felt more like home than ever. I could sense Freddie's influence. Her touch had brightened the place. I felt my eyes welling up with tears. This hardened criminal was genuinely moved. "Tex," Freddie called, and I wiped my eyes. "I admit it feels like home," I said. Freddie smiled and, unexpectedly, took off her rings. "Ready for a new chapter?" she asked, and I couldn't help but smile back as we hugged. 10 lawyers, 4 corporate executives, 6 politicians, and 1 judge watched their careers and marriages crumble due to Gina's revelations. Through it all, I gained a new family and found a sense of peace. As for Lily, she married a wealthy lawyer, perhaps finally achieving what she'd always wanted. While I once thought we had everything, a loving family, a good home in a great neighborhood, a healthy child, and a successful business that eased financial worries, she seemed to crave status above all else. Now she has it, married to a rich lawyer, living in a grand house in Gurnee. But she also has a husband who's unfaithful, using her for appearances rather than genuine affection. I hope she's happy. I know I am.